Hidden machines, or HMs, in Pokemon are usually looked down upon as being bad moves. This excludes the high damaging HMs such as Surf, Strength, and Fly, but those are typically only accessible late game. I thought it would be interesting to run through Pokemon Soul Silver using only HMs to do direct damage. Let's break down exactly what I mean by this challenge. In battle, my Pokemon can only use HM moves to attack with exception to non-damaging moves or status moves. This is what I mean by direct damage. Moves such as Toxic or Leech Seed will be allowed in this challenge, and you'll see why in a second. You may think this will make the challenge too easy being able to use indirectly damaging moves, but keep in mind we only get Rock Smash up until after the second badge. And this is where we run into our first obstacle. How are we going to get our first HM Rock Smash, which is in Violet City, without doing any damage? We have no choice but to Pacifist run the game until we get it, so we need to plan our run accordingly. On top of the HM challenge, we'll also be doing no items in battle to even out the challenge. We're not doing Nuzlocke rules for this, so I think it levels it all out. Also, this video will only consist of the Johto region. I decided to split up the regions into 2 separate videos in order to get this one out sooner, so keep an eye out for part 2. And before we get into the planning, if you happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Trust me, it really helps out. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I stream these runs live on my Twitch Supra streams pretty much daily, so stop by if you want to see the action live. Seriously, come check out the Twitch. We also just dropped a new merch design, so definitely go check out the news store if you want to support. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the run. I think we need to talk about why we chose Soul Silver in the first place. Firstly, we knew it had to be a Johto remake game because it's the most optimal for us to Pacifist run until we get our first HM. This has to do with the location of the first HM and the starter Pokemon we will choose. More on that in a second. And secondly, Lugia just seemed to be better than Ho-Oh for this challenge because it gets access to Surf and Fly, whereas Ho-Oh just gets Fly. Now that our game decision is explained, let's get into the starter. Since our first HM is a ways away, we need to do indirect damage, and only one of the 3 starters in Soul Silver gets access to indirectly damaging moves early on, and this is Chikorita. Chikorita gets Poison Powder at level 9 and Synthesis at level 12 as well. The only required battles on the way to Rock Smash are the Rival Battle, which we just lose, and the Youngster Mikey fight on the route north of Cherry Grove. Every other trainer is avoidable. So our first question, how do we get Chikorita from level 5 to at least level 9 without doing any damage? Thankfully, the key to this obstacle is also on the route north of Cherry Grove. There's a 15% chance during the day of encountering Kakuna here, which obviously can't do any damage to us. This allows us to spam Growl repeatedly until the Kakuna runs out of Hardens and eventually kills itself with Struggle. It took us about 25 minutes of watching suicidal Kakunas and running back to the Pokemon Center after each one, but we finally reached level 12. And now with both Poison Powder and Synthesis, it was time to take on the very first trainer, Youngster Mikey. The Youngster fight went exactly how we planned. We Poison Powdered the Pidgey, then spammed Growl and Synthesis until it was dead, and we did the same thing for the Rattata, and that was that. Now we've beaten the only required trainer before the first HM, and all we need to do now is avoid trainers on the way to Violet City and get Rock Smash. On the way to Violet City, we catch a Bellsprout to trade for the Onix in Violet City and a Geodude in Dark Cave. The idea behind this was just to have some Rock-type Pokemon to go up against Falconer with. Both Geodude and Onix get Rock Smash as well, so I figured they'd be able to help out a lot, and possibly against Bugsy too. We get to Violet City and trade away our Bellsprout. We also decide to get the Wooper Egg from Primo in the Pokemon Center because Quagsire gets access to a lot of HM moves. After grinding up in the Sprout Tower and clearing it out, it was time to take on the first gym leader, Falconer. I lead off with Onix and start spamming Screech to lower the Pidgey's defense, and after 2 Rock Smashes, it goes down. Unfortunately, after killing the Pidgey, Onix levels up to 11, which means it will no longer obey us because we got it from a trade. With this being the case, I decide to sack off Onix and bring in Geodude to go for Rock Smash until Pidgeotto goes down. We're able to beat Falconer due to him going for Roost and losing his flying type, and this made Rock Smash super effective and gave us the kill after a few defense drops. After beating Falconer, we head south towards the cave and decide to catch an Ekans. Intimidate is such a good ability to have, so that pretty much made the decision for us. And after that, we made our way through the cave into Azalea Town. Once we cleared out the Slowpoke well and did some leveling up, it was time to take on Bugsy. Our team for this fight was Onix, Ekans, Bayleaf, Hoppip, Geodude, and Wooper. We decide to lead off with Bayleaf on the Scyther to go for Poison Powder, and it thankfully hits. We bring out Onix to eat attacks and stall some turns of poison, but Bugsy goes for U-turn. Metapod comes in, so we do the last little bit of damage possible before losing Onix and then bringing in Wooper to finish it off. Scyther comes back out, so we go into Ekans to get the Intimidate. After some more stalling, Ekans goes down, but Scyther is so close to dying. Muscle the Geodude comes in, we're able to take out Scyther with a Rock Smash plus poison damage. And as for the last Kakuna, Wooper comes in to take it out and gets us the second gym badge. After beating Bugsy, we made our way to Goldenrod City to fight Whitney. But before entering the Ilex Forest, there's a rival fight, and he has a Pokemon we really had no answer for. You see, our rival has a Ghastly, which is a ghost type, and neither of our current HM moves can do any damage to it. We could have leveled up Hoppip to 22 to learn Leech Seed, but this seemed a bit overkill. I just didn't want to have a super overleveled Hoppip on my team, so the only other option was to stall it out until it struggles. Thankfully, Ghastly knows Curse, so it took out half of its own HP against our Bayleaf, and then we just swapped out to Onix to make him go for Curse again and kill himself. Between Geodude and Bayleaf, the rest of the fight went smoothly, and now we can make our way to Goldenrod. Before the city, we catch a Drowsy to trade for a Machamp in the department store. I figured it'd be another Rock Smash user to help out with Whitney, so why not? Because of this, the Whitney battle was really easy. The Clefairy went down to a crit Rock Smash from Machamp, and after swapping to Ekans to get the Intimidate, Ekans gets hit with the crit Stomp and unfortunately goes down before getting off a Glare. We then go back into Machamp, who ends the battle with a few Rock Smashes, and that was Whitney. Before heading to Ecruteak, we make our way back to Azalea to headbutt a tree to get a Heracross. I guess technically this is using a non-HM move, but it's in the overworld, so no way this should count. And don't worry, we never used it in battle, we just got rid of it immediately. And on the way to Ecruteak, Wooper evolved into Quagsire, which was perfect timing because we're about to get the HM for Surf. And we need all the damage in the world to take out Morty's Ghost-type Pokemon. We do the rival fight at the Burn Tower, watch the dogs run away, then head into Morty's gym. Luckily for us, Ekans evolves during one of the trainer battles. Arbok can't really help too much in this fight offensive-wise, but Glare is a really nice move to slow down Haunter and Gengar. And honestly, we needed all the bulk we could get because this Morty fight actually ended up being pretty difficult. We thought we lost the first attempt due to a crit from Gengar on Skiploom. I needed to get off a Leech Seed, but this really threw a wrench in my plan. So we decided to try our luck with Skiploom living without the crit in our next attempt. We start off the next fight with a Surf, which takes out the Ghastly. Morty then brings in Gengar, and we bring out Skiploom to hopefully take the Shadow Ball, and unfortunately, it does not live the hit. This forces us to play from behind, so I send out Arbok to go for the Glare and slow the Gengar down. I sack Arbok to get a free swap into Quagsire, and we get a super lucky Surf crit to take the Gengar out. Quagsire really putting the team on its back for this battle. With Gengar gone, it was just 2 more Haunters to go. We take down the second Haunter after breaking out of sleep, and the next one goes down with 2 Surfs. After dropping the first fight, we finally are able to get the Fog Badge from Morty. From there, we make our way to Olivine City and catch a Tentacruel once we get there. Tentacruel is going to be a very vital member of the team later, having access to Toxic Spikes and best of all, Surf. We go through the lighthouse to meet Jasmine and surf to Cianwood for the Chuck fight. Chuck only has 2 Pokemon that we need to prepare for, so we got that working with us. Plus, in the gym, Skiploom evolved into Jumpluff, and Machop also evolved into Machoke. By the way, I removed trait evolutions on this ROM, so Pokemon like Machoke will just evolve at level 36. The team for Chuck was Machoke, Bayleaf, Jumpluff, Quagsire, Tentacruel, and Arbok. The idea in mind for this fight was to use Intimidate pivot strats to lower the damage output of Chuck's Pokemon. We lead Arbok on Primeape and swap to Machoke on the Rock Slide. This allows us to swap back into Arbok and to get the Primeape to -2 attack. Glare misses once, but it somehow hits the second time after 2 double teams. I try to get 1 more Intimidate off, but on the swap back into Arbok, I get crit with a Focus Punch. This is really scary now. Primeape has 2 double teams up and can just spam Focus Punch pretty much. But now I send in the Clutch Master, Quagsire, who pulls through and hits a Surf. We actually end up hitting another, but Chuck just heals up and swaps out to Poliwrath. I sack off Bayleaf to bring in Jumpluff for free and get a Leech Seed off, but we get Body Slam paralyzed as well. This definitely puts a hole in our Protect stalling strategy, but with Leech Seed and Poison Powder damage, Jumpluff is able to take out the Poliwrath after a few turns. Alright, fuck yeah. Alright, Poliwrath goes down. That should be it. Plus Poison Powder, and we're at full, chat. And we're at full! I leave Jumpluff in on Primeape to get another Leech Seed off, which was essentially just because this Primeape likes to go for double team. I bring in Quagsire to go for some Surfs, and he's able to take down the Primeape. That battle really looked like it was going south, but Jumpluff and Quagsire were able to clutch up and take it home. We bring the medicine to Jasmine and immediately head into her gym. I went into this fight super cocky. Her Magnemites can't really touch Quagsire, and Steelix really isn't too much of a threat. Let's be honest. Quagsire handles the first 2 Magnemites with Surf, and we do take some Sonic Boom damage in exchange, but no worries. We swap to Arbok on the Steelix to get the Intimidate and go for Glare in classic Arbok fashion. Arbok goes down, giving us a free swap to Jumpluff to get the Leech Seed off and start Protect stalling. But I may have underestimated Steelix because Jumpluff just goes down to an Iron Tail. No worries though, Quagsire comes in and takes the Steelix out with a Surf, and now we're left with just 1 Magnemite. Before the battle, I gave Quagsire a Person Berry to counter Supersonic from Magnemite, and it came in handy against this one. We heal off the confusion, get a Surf off, and eat the Sonic Boom on the next turn to finish off the battle with Surf. Quagsire really showing its true value in this challenge. Next up is Price's gym, but first we head to the Lake of Rage to catch the red Gyarados. It's another Intimidate Pokemon that gets access to Surf and other HMs, so why not catch it? We then help Lance in the Team Rocket hideout, and I'll spare you guys from the boringness that is this part of the game. Let's just skip to the gym leader. With Machoke and Quagsire on the squad, we really weren't too scared of Price's team. Seal goes down to Machoke after a Rock Smash defense drop and a Strength. Dugong comes out when we get a lucky Rock Smash defense drop, allowing us to 2-hit KO the Dugong. We bring out Quagsire to fight the Piloswine and go for Surf, and after getting it down to half, Quagsire goes down to a Blizzard. However, this allows us to bring out our shiny Gyarados and knock out the Piloswine to claim the gym badge. After Price, we make our way back to Goldenrod City to deal with Team Rocket, and once again, nothing notable happens against the Team Rocket grunts or admins. Team Rocket are really a bunch of pushovers in this game, but it's fine by me because this means we can head to Blackthorn City to battle Claire. We make our way through the Icy Path and finally end up in Blackthorn City. Before heading into the gym, we catch a Skarmory, which ends up being a game changer for the team. The team going into the Claire battle was Skarmory, Jumpluff, Tentacruel, Ambipom, Quagsire, and Machamp. We lead off with Jumpluff to get the Leech Seed on Gyarados, then swap into Skarmory to start setting up spikes. After the 3 layers were up, we sent out Tentacruel to set up some toxic spikes. Having double hazards up makes battles 10 times easier, so it's a strategy we were definitely going to make sure we used. Using Protect and swapping around allowed us to stall the Gyarados down, and it eventually died to Leech Seed while Skarmory was in the air for Fly. This was really good because it allowed us to get free Fly damage on whatever Pokemon Claire brought in next. Dragonair comes out and takes a bunch of hazard damage, and we bring out Ambipom to finish the job. Next up is Kingdra, which is definitely Claire's biggest threat. Since we have Toxic on it from the spikes, we decide to make some plays to get it down lower. Kingdra wouldn't use a water move on Quagsire, so we pivot to Skarmory to eat up the Dragon Pulse. Here we swap back into Quagsire to absorb the Hydro Pump, but it misses. Not only do we not get HP recovery because of this miss, but this causes the AI to not see Water Absorb on Quagsire, and Kingdra goes for Water Pump again when we swap back into Skarmory, which destroys it. We bring out Machamp to revenge kill, and now it's just one more Dragonair to go. Muscle the Machamp takes it down with a few strengths, and now we have the 8th badge. All that's left to do now is catch Lugia and make our way to the Elite Four. Part of me really wishes we played Heart Gold because I can't even put into words how much I hate navigating the Whirl Islands. But somehow we do make it to Lugia and waste no time by throwing a Master Ball at it. 3. Yay! Let's go! Wow! Oh my god! Lugia is going to be an essential part of the team. Not only does it get access to Surf and Fly, but it's insanely bulky and also another Pokemon we could baton pass agilities and nasty plots to from Ambipom. I haven't talked about our Ambipom too much in this video yet, but just wait for the Elite Four. That Pokemon is a monster. With Lugia now under our belt, all that's left to do is make our way through Victory Road, and the Johto Victory Road is a breeze. Even the rival fight, we really didn't even have to use the thought out strategy at all. We could pretty much just surf and fly our way to victories, so that's exactly what we did. Honestly, I think we deserved the easy rival fight. It's the last race period before the hell that's about to come, which is the Elite Four. First things first, we attempted the Elite Four a total of 6 times. Each time we made it to the champion Lance, but we weren't able to beat it until the final attempt. Our first attempt almost ended in a win, but Lance's Dragonite decided to hit through confusion, losing us the battle. No! I think for the sake of the video, it just makes sense to me going over our winning Elite Four run, so we'll just skip to that. The goal for each Elite Four member was to beat the battle with 0 Pokemon deaths. Obviously, it's not a Nuzlocke, but it added an extra level of fun to the challenge. If we lost a Pokemon, obviously no reviving it in battle, but once we won the fight, we were free to use revives as we pleased. The team for the first 4 attempts was Jumpluff, Tentacruel, Lugia, Ambipom, Skarmory, and Ninetales. But after losing 4 times, we decided to swap out the weakest link being Ninetales for backwards the Arbok. I know, seeing an Arbok on an Elite Four team is quite weird, but Intimidate and Glare make this a great utility Pokemon for this run. Will leads with the Xatu, so we lead Skarmory and start setting up our layers of spikes. After setting up all 3 layers, we swap to Ambipom to pick up the 2-hit KO with Strength. Next, Jinx comes in and we just one-shot it with Strength this time. Will sends out Exeggutor now, so we swap to Lugia to go for Fly in exchange for a Hypnosis. We wake up after a few turns and knock out the Exeggutor with 2 more Flies. The second Xatu is sent out and we swap to Skarmory to wall it while also dealing damage with Fly. Airplane's able to pick up the KO in 2 turns and Slowbro comes in next. From our previous attempts, we know how out of hand this Slowbro can get. With access to Amnesia and Curse, if this Pokemon starts setting up, it can get really scary really fast. To counter this, we send out Jumpluff to go for Leech Seed and stall the Slowbro out. Now it's just a matter of burning turns with Protect and Synthesis, and we eventually swap to Skarmory again, who picks up the kill. And that's a Deathless Will battle. Koga's up next, who is consistently the easiest Elite Four member in all of our attempts. We lead off with Ambipom, who's able to get an Agility and a Nasty Plot off on Koga's Ariados. We baton pass the boost to Tentacruel and proceed to sweep through Koga. I really wish we had opportunities to set up on all the Elite Four members. It would have made our attempts so much smoother. Ariados goes down, same with Venomoth, Fortress, Crobat, and Muck. 5 Pokemon up, 5 Pokemon down, just like that. On to Bruno now with no deaths so far. We lead off with Tentacruel to try and set up Toxic Spikes on Hitmontop. We knew this was a pretty safe option because Hitmontop can't really touch us with its moveset barring Dig. But if he goes underground, we just swap to Skarmory and set up spikes anyways. No harm, no foul. This ends up happening, so we switch out to Skarmory and start setting up spikes. Once that's done, a bit more switching between Tentacruel and Skarmory allowed us to get the remaining Toxic Spike layers up as well. We can now swap into Lugia to go for Surf first and then Fly. This allowed us to bypass Hitmontop's counter and put it in range to kill with Fly on the next turn. It's possible Fly would have just taken it out, but I'm not taking any chances here. And now Bruno's most threatening Pokemon comes out, Onix, who we just one-shot with a Surf from Lugia. Hitmonchan comes in next, and with the Spikes damage plus Toxic, I'm confident we can just take it out with a Fly, and it works. Now for the real threat, Machamp. Thankfully, this Machamp has the No Guard ability as opposed to Guts. If it had Guts, we wouldn't have been able to set up Toxic Spikes in the first place. We bring out Arbok to get the Intimidate and go for Stockpiles. The plan for this Machamp was honestly to just stall it out until it was in range for Strength plus Toxic damage to take it out. We eat up Rock Slides turn after turn and finally get the Quick Claw pop to seal the deal. Lastly, Bruno sends in Hitmonlee, and we just go right back into Lugia to take it out with one singular Fly. 3 Elite Four members down with 0 deaths. This is looking great so far. Now it was time for the final Elite Four member, Karen. Her team really isn't that Intimidate, being that her Gengar's only Ghost-type attack is Lick, but Houndoom could be a problem if Tentacruel gets too low HP. We also can't set up Toxic Spikes in this fight because she has a Vileplume that will just absorb them. Plus, it's kinda tricky to set up on Umbreon because it has Confuse Ray and Double Team. We lead off with Jumpluff to snag the Leech Seed turn 1, basically assuring we can still take this Pokemon out even if it starts setting up double teams. We then bring out Skarmory and start setting up layers of spikes. Luckily, Umbreon doesn't go for Confuse Ray any of those 3 turns, so we get the spikes up safely. Ambipom comes out to set up on Umbreon with Agility and Nasty Plot. After full restoring, Umbreon goes for Double Team and I start to panic a little. But have no fear, we baton pass out to Tentacruel who has Protect anyways, so worst comes to worst, we Protect stall until this Umbreon dies. Which is exactly what we end up doing to take it out. Murkrow comes out next, and Tentacruel just takes it out with a Surf. Next up is Houndoom, who we easily outspeed in one shot with another Surf. Vileplume comes out next, but with the Spikes damage and Nasty Plot boosts, we're still able to take it out with one Surf. And last but not least, Gengar comes out, and you guessed it, we take it out with one Surf. The plan for this fight wasn't to set up and sweep with Tentacruel at all. The play just kind of fell into our laps and gave us another Deathless Elite Four member. With the Elite Four out of the way, all we had to do now was take on the champion, Lance. Once again, in our first 5 attempts at the Elite Four, we made it to Lance and lost each time. This fight was no joke. His Pokemon have so much coverage along with resisting Surf, excluding Charizard and Aerodactyl. The first obstacle was figuring out how to beat the first Pokemon, Gyarados. Obviously, we don't have access to any electric moves, which are by far the best moves to take out a Gyarados. We had to come up with a plan, and it seemed like Leech Seeding Gyarados with Jumpluff was the best option. However, Gyarados has Ice Fang, which would destroy Jumpluff if it hit. And unfortunately, we didn't have any Yachi Berries at the time to lower the damage. But we did have a Lugia with Reflect and a very intimidating Arbok. We lead off with Lugia and go for Reflect immediately. We don't get frozen from the Ice Fang, thankfully, and we swap to Arbok. We do this so we can get the Intimidate and also switch Jumpluff in on a non-Ice type attack. Gyarados goes for Dragon Pulse, which allows Jumpluff to go for Leech Seed and live the Ice Fang on the next turn. We protect the following turn to get some Leech Seed recovery, then bring Arbok back out to get another Intimidate. As you may notice, we're doing a lot of switching here to assure my team gets back HP from the Leech Seed. We bring out Lugia to set up another Reflect, then go back to Arbok for one last Intimidate. At this point, barring a crit, Gyarados' attack stat is incredibly low, which gives us the perfect opportunity to swap into Ambipom and start setting up. After failing this fight 5 times prior, it seemed like setting up and baton passing was the only way to beat this fight. We get max special attack with Nasty Plot and max speed with Agility, and now it's time for our team ace to do some damage. We baton pass into Tentacruel and proceed to take down Gyarados with a Surf. Prior to this battle, we ran Cherry Berry on Tentacruel to prevent the possible Thunder Wave from Dragonite, but for this battle we opted for Mystic Water instead in hopes it would help us take out the Dragonites. However, it ends up not even mattering for the first Dragonite because we get a super lucky crit and take it down in one hit. The second level 49 Dragonite comes out now and we go for Surf, which just barely takes it out. Unfortunately, this does mean Tentacruel will get paralyzed, but thankfully we do break through on the next turn to take out the second Dragonite. Next up is Aerodactyl, who thankfully doesn't have Earthquake, but has Thunder Fang, which is not only super effective, but has the chance to flinch. We need to get rid of this Aerodactyl now, so a fully para or flinch would pretty much cost us the battle. Tentacruel decides to pull through though, and eat up the attack to retaliate with a Surf and pick up the kill. From my experience in earlier attempts, with Aerodactyl out of the way, we had a real shot of winning this battle here. The level 50 Dragonite comes in now, which has the ability to do insane amounts of damage with Outrage. We Surf and knock the Dragonite a bit under half HP to pop the Citrus Berry, but it's here where Tentacruel's reign ends and goes down to an Outrage. With Dragonite locked in, it gives us the opportunity to go out into Arbok for the Intimidate, eat up the Outrage, and hopefully land a Glare. Arbok's Quick Claw actually pops this turn, which was unnecessary but cool nevertheless. We live the hit, then send in Skarmory to tank another Outrage. My goal here is to possibly kill Dragonite on the turn it hits itself from Confusion, so I go for a Fly. After a Fly, Dragonite is left in the red HP, but kills Skarmory off with a Fire Blast. Knowing that Lance is going to heal on this turn, we bring out Jumpluff to get the free Leech Seed off. We go for Protect and then bring out Arbok for another round of Intimidate, and Fire Blast thankfully misses. Arbok has the chance to make a solid play now, and this happens. Oh my god! Backwards with the oh, it missed! No, okay, we can't be that lucky, I guess. If Glare hit that turn, it would have given me a huge confidence boost for the rest of the fight, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Arbok goes down now, so we bring in Jumpluff to go for a Protect and get some damage plus HP back. I then decide to swap into Lugia to eat up a hit if need be, and Lugia tanks the Fire Blast. Lugia was also a good play here because Dragonite isn't likely to Fire Blast again, so we go back into Jumpluff while Lance actually goes for Safeguard. Dragonite gets down to red HP, but Lance uses another full restore. Unfortunately, I go for Poison Powder, completely forgetting about the Safeguard he set up a few turns ago. Dragonite locks himself into Outrage again, so we can Synthesis stall to get around it. Basically, we just cannot get crit here or it's game over. Outrage ends, so Dragonite is now confused, and we get a super lucky Confusion hit on the Dragonite. This really helped rack up the damage with Leech Seed, and after a few more turns of Protect and Synthesis, Dragonite goes down. The double Protect to seal the Dragonite! Now there was only one more Pokemon standing in the way of us beating the champion, Charizard. Thankfully, we still have Lugia in the back at high enough HP to take it on, so we bring in Lugia and go for Surf. It does a little bit over half, so I definitely thought it would kill on the next turn. Oh my god, dude, can you just die? But he hangs on somehow. We needed to end this battle as fast as possible. Charizard has Shadow Claw, which is super effective and has a high chance to crit. So one Shadow Claw crit and we could be put in a really tough spot. Charizard heals, allowing us to get a free Surf off, and once again, it does a little bit over half. All we needed now was a decent roll on this Surf, and we've officially beaten the champion. But once again, Charizard hangs on, resulting in Lugia having to tank a Shadow Claw. Thank God this wasn't a crit, because Lugia definitely would have went down. But now with Charizard at basically 0 HP, there was only one thing left to do. After 5 attempts, we have finally taken down the champion of Johto in Soul Silver HMs only. And with that, we've beaten the champion Lance and completed the first part of our Soul Silver HMs only challenge run. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the Kanto video. Part 2 should drop sometime next week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this challenge video. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Also make sure you head over to my Twitch and follow so you can see runs like this live. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.